guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about what does my YouTube audience, as well as a lot of Jessica's own subscribers, whether they're previous or current people who have watched her. I'm going to echo some of your all's comments from the last video that I did, because I know that not everybody reads comment sections. Some people just listen to the video and, they're working out, they're cleaning the house, and that's all good. But I figured that this would be a good way to extend the conversation. And I also had a little update from a video clip that I was sent that I wanted to share with you guys. But either way, if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so first things first, I'm going to share with you parts of her TikTok live where she was going through Jason's paperwork. And there were quite a few things that were said in this TikTok live that for a lot of people are red flags. But the thing that I took away from it, and it's in this clip, is that this is somebody who has a very extensive criminal history. And I want to talk for a quick second about people with a criminal history and people changing and turning into different people. I have, people in my own life who have gotten in trouble with the law and they turn a new leaf and they're brand new people. And you would never know that they have a really colorful history, but they changed everything and they became functioning members of society because they either served time or they were on probation or they just had something in their life to give them a wake-up call. I think that we all know people like that. So I understand that people change every single day. As human beings, we should want to do better. We should want to become better versions of who we were last year or 5 years ago. I know I'm not the same person that I was when I was 21. Thank God, because my YouTube channel would not exist if I was the same person I was back then. But yeah, we should want to do better, and people change. But the problem is that once there's a pattern shown where it's not just a couple of mistakes, it's harmful and it's intentional and it's repeated behavior over and over again, that's where people start to have a problem and they say, maybe this individual hasn't learned because they've been given 4 opportunities to serve some time and get out or be on probation and, become a different person, and they just end up being the same person that they were previously. And sometimes it's even worse once you start looking at their charges and seeing kind of what they got in trouble with the most recent time. So I don't want to come down and say, well, anyone with a criminal history is just not a good person, because that's not fair and that's a really narrow-minded way of thinking. But I think if we're going to look at it case by case, and right now I'm looking at what Jess has shared about Jason very publicly and the things that he has shared himself through her videos, this is somebody who has not learned and they haven't changed. And the problem is that when there is this much paperwork and this much of a paper trail that people can follow, they start to express concern about this individual being around Jess's children specifically. So if you as an adult want to associate with somebody like this and you're well aware of what their history is and kind of who they are current day, and it's still somebody that you choose to share your life with and share your home with and your money with and your space with, then that is your decision. But once you have children involved, we're talking about a whole new ballgame. This is no longer just me doing what I want to do and F everybody else. People are concerned because there are young children involved in this situation specifically. So let's watch this little clip. It's 51 seconds long, and then I will proceed with my opinion. Hey guys, I also wanted to add in here that because of my last video, I have received some clarification about the J. Kent Snark Reddit. So evidently when I tried to look at it early in the morning the other day, the moderator takes it offline from what I understand. So it's all good, no worries. I just wanted to add the clarification in here. So it is back, it's up, it's online, and that's where these clips came from. So I will let the video play on.
Page 4 through 9, that's just saying 4 through 9, not 1 through 9. So we gonna have to get crazy over that. Lifers are short timers. Wait, are you the girl that was talking about being in jail? Probably. Rubber made tub of crazy. Yes. Sorry, let me just, this is his file, okay? This is one of 2 of his files. Like, it says Jason. I'm gonna put fucking tub of crazy. So he's gonna pick it up. It's gonna say Jason, hashtag tub of crazy. You know, like, be normal for one.
So that was the first clip. To me, it kind of seems like there's always this underlying thing with her, and you're seeing it more now recently since Jason has kind of been more integrated into her presence as a public figure. But there's this underlying tone of he's cool because he has been in trouble so much and he has such a complicated history. And of course, that's just my opinion based off of everything that I've seen. But it does seem very much like, ooh, tub of crazy, look at all these things. I'm going to help him work through this. There's another post.
Bring your paperwork. I was expecting, like, you know, like a normal amount of paperwork, right? So, I severely fucking underestimated this project because what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? You couldn't be normal for 1 year out of your life. But it does have, like, he has everything in here, like disciplinaries from prison where he beats up chomos, and like, it's a fucking gold mine for content and like a literal movie. Like, this is a movie and I see it so clearly, and I swear I'll write the shit myself. Like, my story doesn't come close, and you know.
So she's alleging that his ex ruined his paperwork, and the his criminal history is 9 pages long. That is not something that I would even be telling people on social media. And I know that it's public information. And if she ruined documents, like, courts have copies of everything. Hello. So if you really wanted a copy of something, I'm sure that you could talk to the court that handled the case and receive copies of whatever you need. So for me, I wouldn't even mention the ex. I wouldn't be mentioning that his criminal history is 9 pages long. This is just, it's just way too much. And to me, it kind of seems like she is, what my guess is, and this is only a guess, it's a conspiracy, it's not based in fact. It seems like she might want to integrate this Jason story as like a new storyline into her content, because she knows that some people are hate watching. And could you say that I'm hate watching? Maybe, but I'm also a commentary channel, so I'm having to watch a lot of this, even though I normally wouldn't, because if I didn't have a YouTube channel, this stuff is, I could take it or leave it. I really don't care that much, but I also know that some of my audience wants to discuss these things that are happening publicly, so that's why I am listening to it. This post says, Jess sees Jason's life as a book content gold mine. She wants to write it herself. She probably thinks that he is the next Larry Lawton and they'll be queen king of YouTube when he cleans up his act. Reese wasn't criminal enough. She needs a reality check. And of course, that is just the opinion of somebody on Reddit. But it does kind of seem like this is a new way to create content and a new storyline. So those are the clips from her TikTok that I wanted to share. Now I want to get over to my YouTube comments on my last video because there were a few that I definitely want to have a discussion about, and we're going to talk about it. Now I sorted by new so that we can focus on comments that aren't just the top comments. But if you hear a comment that I read and you want to interact with it, all of these comments are on my last video, which will be linked down below. But the first one says, my major concern are the protection of the children involved. I wish Jessica and Jason all the best in their recovery, but I hope someone is looking out for the children. So the next one is obviously from one of her fans, and it says, Jess Kent is a good person and a good mom. I don't care what people got to say. You all need to get a life. I'm not being rude, just saying everyone is trying to bring her down. Chucky420. I don't think that people are trying to bring her down. I think that people have had quite enough of the antics that are playing out on a public stage. When it comes to this, it all started because she and Mindy had a falling out. She wanted to go public with her opinions of Mindy and say that, people were supporting a drug addict. Don't buy from her, don't buy her products because you're supporting a bad habit. Don't do this, don't do that. And the feud unfolded from there. If Jess would have just been quiet, and here's the thing, you can be friends with people and have a falling out, and it doesn't have to be part of your content. It is okay, because two adults that were friends or were cordial or whatever, you don't get along one day and you decide to part ways, it's okay. It doesn't necessarily need to be part of your content every time you fall out with somebody. It is okay to just be quiet. In my opinion, if Mindy was like a really big YouTuber that Jess was publicly supporting and they had collabed and been, publicly like super close, maybe I can understand addressing it just to say, hey, we're no longer friends and I wish her all the best, whatever. But Jess wanted to come out of the gate with some really insane claims. Mindy decided to respond to defend her own name, and everything fell out from there. So as far as saying people are trying to bring her down, I think that Jess has done enough publicly for people to come up with their own conclusion and their own opinion about her. Do I think that some of the comments can be cruel? I do, but that comes with YouTube. People say mean stuff about me. They'll say mean stuff about people that I don't even like or respect. So I don't agree with the outright name calling or anything like that. But unfortunately, people are going to say things that are mean about other people. That's just kind of existing on the internet, unfortunately. So there are some things that I disagree with, but I also disagree with the things that she has done to lead us up to this point. And then just as things were starting to quiet down, she decides to put Jason in a video when it was very clear that he was not himself, whether it was because of a substance or because of a mental health issue, or some kind of tics like some people are trying to claim, which I don't think that it was tics. Something was afoot, and people are allowed to have a conversation about public content. If I'm going to categorize a good mom, an average mom, a bad mom, a horrible mom, an inexistent mom, I don't think that bringing somebody that has that kind of history around my children would necessarily put me in the category for best mom of the year. And that's what I will say about that. I really try to walk the line of not coming out and parent shaming too often, because I know that it's a hot button topic for some people. But with this, if we're talking about this individual, Jason, being in Jess's home with her children, that doesn't seem like the best parenting decision to me. Did you guys see her letters to him while he was in prison? And the fact that she moved to Chicago where he got locked up. Wonder why. She's from Arkansas and New York. She is obsessed with him and has always been. She'll put him over her kids and sobriety. I really hope not. And obviously I can't speculate too much because I don't live with her and I'm not a quote insider. But based on everything that we've seen publicly, it does seem like a ton of red flags. And yes, I have seen the letters. I made the choice to not share the letters on my channel, but they were very, very, I mean, you know, hey, if you're single, go for it. But of course, we're always going to relate this back to the fact that she was in a very serious relationship with Reese when she was writing those letters to somebody that was incarcerated is a very, very bad look. The next comment said, also, let's not forget about how many years she has had sober. So, to be acting the way she has been lately and claiming she hasn't relapsed is dangerous for the recovery community. When your life becomes unmanageable, like hers has, it's a huge red flag in the community because that's exactly how it looks in active addiction. Just because she hasn't lost anything, it's still because she has money. So this other Jessica Kemp fan left a comment and said, have you ever been an addict yourself? What is the primary purpose of talking about something like this if you don't have any experience or expertise on it? Let me make something very clear. I keep a lot of my life offline, and just because I talk about something like this does not necessarily mean that I don't have experience with it. I know nothing about it. I've never been exposed to it. I've not gone through anything personally with all of these types of things. All of the wide range of things that I talk about on my channel, just because I'm talking about them and I'm not wearing a sign that says, hey, I'm blah, 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 does not mean that I don't have experience with it. And secondly, let's just say whether I did or I didn't have experience. Let's just go off of either one. I am a commentary channel reacting to public content. My role is to have a conversation. I'm not here to say that I'm a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a medical assistant. I'm not an attorney. I am not a mental health clinician. I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm none of the above. I am somebody who has an opinion, and I try to walk the line between, you know, being transparent about how I feel, but not overstepping and coming out and directly, you know, diagnosing people or whatever it is. I really do my best. Have I made mistakes in the past? I'm sure I will make more in the future. That's just part of being a human being. When it comes to somebody wanting to say, oh, you're throwing dirt on someone's name, you're writing coattails, blah, 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 blah. I'm a commentary channel. If you want to call it writing coattails, then that is your choice to go ahead and do. But when YouTubers decide to make their lives public and things like this play out on a public stage, you cannot expect people that have channels to go ahead and just zip it, be quiet, let's nobody talk about it, and let's just let everything fall apart and nobody's allowed to have an opinion. You make your main form of revenue off of this platform. If things start to fall apart and you're showing it on this platform, you better guarantee people are going to have an opinion about it. I get a little flustered with things like this, and I really try to not let, you know, comments, you know, this is not altering my mood by any means, but don't sit there and try to manipulate what somebody is doing or what they're allowed to talk about or what they're not allowed to talk about. Because if it's happening on the internet, I'm going to have an opinion about it, as well as anyone else who left a comment on this video is going to have an opinion about it. It's funny to me because people still try to paint Reese out to be the bad guy in this. And here's the thing, I don't know Reese personally, but I can say with 100% certainty that during this entire circus that's been going on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, he has stayed quiet and he is keeping his mouth shut, whereas we've seen the exact opposite from Jess. And my opinion has been for a very long time since all of this kicked off is if you are concerned about your children and you are here to protect them, you don't allow things like this to play out on a public stage. You keep it in the courtroom, in your house, whatever it is, like between the adults in the situation. Someone on here was trying to compare cracking your knuckles to what Jason was doing in that video. I can't even understand what this guy is saying. She's gotten away with it for so long, and people just having her back as she blatantly lied to people. Now she thinks she can post whatever and be loved and accepted. No, Jessica, we all know you're a liar. I would rather watch screen recordings from other YouTubers' platform pages than give her money. I refuse. Next comment just triggers me. I've experienced narcissistic abuse, and it feels like listening to the same BS of somebody telling me that reality isn't reality. If Jason was having a true manic episode, she would have not picked that as a good time to film. I don't believe it for a second. I have been that person who could barely string together a sentence while my mouth and body literally could not stay still. Critics think they're outsmarting everybody, and she has admitted this herself before. You think you're fooling everybody, but it's so obvious. She assumes we don't know anything, and we haven't lived our own lives and made mistakes. It's not fair for her to get pissy with her audience for being concerned. If it wasn't concerning, people wouldn't be talking about it. I wish her and her daughters all the best. I used to be one of her ride or dies until I started seeing that she was not sober anymore and was lying to us. Now, this is where I want to make it clear. I don't give a shit if someone gets high or smokes or whatever. As long as they're not hurting somebody else and they're not hurting kids and they're in control of themselves. And to be clear, the reason I stopped following her and supporting her was that she lied. And she thought we were stupid. And I asked her straight up and she told me no, sober as a gopher. And that literally just made me cringe. I can't support someone who's lying and manipulating and gone back to her old ways. She is not reformed. And I want to make it really clear too, for anyone who hasn't watched my other videos about this, just a quick brief on what I know about Jessica. I was a subscriber of hers. She had less than 10,000 subscribers. It was a small channel back when I first found her. And I binged the videos that she had on her channel, and then I kept up from that point on. And I was really intrigued. I was intrigued with, I've never been to jail, knock on wood, but I was intrigued with her stories and the things that she would tell people about, kind of how prison is like its own city and how things operate in there and unspoken rules and recipes and everything that she had shared. And her giving birth in prison really hit me hard. And I went from being like a watcher to being like an actual fan once she talked more about having a baby in prison and some of the things that happened after that. I am not the type of subscriber to buy YouTuber merch or anything like that, but I was a very avid listener and I would tune into her live streams, and I always made sure that I would watch the video from beginning to end as long as I had time. If not, I would save it to watch later and come back. But I was really along for the ride. So I understand that YouTubers change. As I said in the beginning of the video, everybody changes. That's part of living life, changing. But the changes that I've seen from her are concerning. And some people want to say, oh, well, if it's concerning, why don't you send her an email, send her a message? That's not my job, to be really frank. And at this point in time, if the comments and concern from subscribers have not grabbed her attention, me as a commentary channel sending her a message is not going to do anything. And when all of this first kicked off, I did send her a message on Instagram. It was probably around October. And I sent her a message and I said, I hope you're doing okay. Really crazy about what's happening with Reese, because that's when she first opened up about it. And I did send her, well wishes. And I had hoped that it wasn't going to get worse. and it did get worse. So I made the decision for myself to vacate her channel. And as more people continue to talk about it, and, you know, I've mentioned Jessica in passing in other videos that I've done, I started to receive some questions about it. And I decided that I would allow you guys to have a conversation on my channel. And I have deleted comments that were very nasty towards her because that's just not who I am. It's not what I stand for. And I have cleaned up some of those comments, but for the most part, I see a lot of people who are just like me, long time or short term subscribers who feel let down. And that is okay. If you feel let down, if you feel frustrated, if you feel like leaving a comment is what you want to do, then that's okay. Like, nobody's here to hurt Jessica. I'm so tired of this, like, victim mentality. Like, everybody is a victim. Everybody is being dogpiled on. Like, shut up. Just shut up with that. Like, people have made millions off the platform that they then turn around and shit all over. Someone else said, like you, I have watched her from day one and always been a supporter. Everything during the last few months has made me so sad for her and the people directly involved in her life. I think she's forgotten her audience is mostly composed of people that can spot the red flags like the back of their hands because they've used the same tactics. She gets defensive about haters, but what she doesn't realize is most of us want to be wrong. I for sure would love nothing more than to find out that this has all been blown out of proportion. Thank God someone is still holding her accountable here on YouTube. I think that it's an important conversation. I really do. I've seen the positive response to my Jessica videos, despite the fact that, you know, I get comments that disagree. That's just normal for me. But for the most part, it's people that are like-minded, people that want to have a conversation, and people that are frustrated. And like I said, if you make your living off of YouTube and then you do something like this, you should not expect silence from the public when you're standing on a public platform that has paid you sometimes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. That is what commentary channels are for, to discuss internet culture. That's why I'm here. I couldn't understand anything that he said. Bamboozled as well. When it comes to some kind of permanent damage, that would be news. And that could be something that was communicated from Jess ahead of time. Because you know that people are going to pick up on this. Why not talk about that and maybe pick a better filming day? I don't know. The video was a horrible idea. It presented really badly, and I think that a lot of people saw the same issues that I saw. Yeah. Yes, I see red flags. So either way, lots of comments. Go over to that video, engage with some of them, leave a comment if you have thoughts, leave a comment on this video, whatever you guys want to do. But I want to read this comment to close out the video. Because I want to acknowledge this, because I often will say, I'm an idiot on the internet. I'm a nobody. Because I don't think I'm anyone special. But one of my longtime subscribers left a comment that said, I'm compelled to ask you to please stop saying I'm a nobody. I know that. I don't care what the context or subject matter is when you say those words. It doesn't matter. Please, just please stop. I mean that in the most respectful way possible. That makes me more uncomfortable than anything else you ever say. I'm sure most of your subscribers and others would completely agree with me. You are somebody important, I might add. You are helping to make a positive impact in this world by tackling some topics that just happen to make some creators and viewers uncomfortable. Oh well, keep doing you. We're here for it, supporting you and listening to your opinions. I appreciate your channel tons. So I just wanted to acknowledge that I appreciate your all's support. I say this all of the time, so I won't make this a really long, rambly thing. But at the end of the day, I say that because I acknowledge that My opinion is not better than anybody else's. I just so happen to have a channel where I talk about them openly. And some of the topics that I cover really get people upset. I realize that. But I also realize that there's an audience that's here to listen to it. And if you listen to some of my videos and not others, that's okay. If you listen to them once in a while, that's cool. If you listen to all of them, that's cool too. I've always said it's an open door policy. I don't expect, a certain number of supporters. I don't expect people to watch every one of my videos. I'm just here to talk about stuff that I'm passionate about. And I've just never wanted anyone to have the perception that my opinion is the best one, but I think that some people think that anyway. So either way, this is my vow to you all as my subscribers that I will not say that anymore. I will just 86 it from my vocabulary, because I do realize that like these self-deprecating like phrases can be obnoxious to the viewer. And I think I've just had enough of, few people that don't like me, go ahead and fuck off at this point. I am becoming so numb to the nonsense that is on YouTube. So either way, I really appreciated that comment, but I wish nothing but the best for Jess. I've said that before. I've said it in pretty much every video that I've made. No, Jessica Kent is not going to become a normal topic on my channel, but I do think that it's important to give people a space to have a conversation and have an open dialogue. And, is this a sensitive topic because we're talking about someone who could be using a substance, might be having some kind of medical issue? That could be a sensitive topic, but at the same time, like I always say, if you don't want people to have an opinion about it, keep it off the internet. The video should have never been filmed, edited, the thumbnail designed, uploaded, rendered. There were multiple places to stop and say, this is not going to go over well. I owe my subscribers better than this. So either way. And I also owe Jason better than this. If this is supposed to be somebody that you care about, then I wouldn't have blasted them on my channel like that. But either way, that's enough for today. So if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.